Breaking tonight, a lawyer for the Trump presidential transition team is accusing Robert Mueller and his team of inappropriately obtaining private documents as part of its Russia probe. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Janine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. We're learning a lot about a letter sent to lawmakers by the Trump transition team today that alleges unlawful conduct by the staff at the General Services Administration in handing over transition documents to the special counsel's office. Congressman Ron DeSantis and Jim Jordan are standing by live to react to this developing story. But first, my opening statement. What would you say if I told you your vote doesn't count? That all the effort you put into the issues and candidates is a waste of time? That there are people at the citadel of power who believe that it is their right to invalidate your choice if they don't agree with it? Folks, this is not about politics. It's much bigger. I doubt in American presidential election history that there has been as great a crime or as large a stain on our democracy than that committed by a criminal cabal in our FBI and the Department of Justice who think they know better than we who our president should be. Now, last week I told you it all started when Cardinal Comey destroyed our FBI with political hacks to set events in motion to destroy the Republic because they didn't like the man we chose to be our president. Well, it's time to take them out in cuffs. I took a lot of heat for that and got a lot of pushback, including Stephen Colbert, whom I invite to come on Justice and say what he said to my face. But tonight, Mr. Colbert, in the spirit of the season, I offer this branch. I hereby double down. This is worse than even I imagined. This week we saw documents that gave us context, or as I would say in my DA life, motive for the crimes that I've already described to you in the past. Not that we need motive, since the elements of the crimes have already been established. And folks, this was the mother lode. Members of the FBI and the Department of Justice, some of whom actually ended up on Bob Mueller's team to prosecute Donald Trump, did everything they could to exonerate Hillary Clinton for her crimes and incriminate Donald Trump with a non-existent crime. For example, change grossly negligent, an element of the crime, to extremely careless in an effort to take Hillary's acts out of the criminal realm where there are no criminal consequences. Example, remove reasonably likely hacked by other countries to possibly, to make it appear that there was no hacking of our classified material on Hillary Clinton's completely unsecured server, which the Romanian hacker Guccifer told NBC News from a prison in Bucharest was as easy as opening an orchid on the internet. The person responsible for changing the language from incriminating to innocent is Peter Strzok, a button man in the crime family of James Comey. Strzok, the same man who oversaw the creation of the Trump dossier, the one bought and paid for by the Clinton team, and sat in on Hillary Clinton's interview, who agreed that her aides, Cheryl Mills and Numa Abedin, could be interviewed together, unheard of in law enforcement, and also Strzok, the one who interviewed Michael Flynn, the only one charged with anything. Strzok was a student of Andrew McCabe, deputy director of the FBI, and according to the Wall Street Journal, Strzok, his gumad, Lisa Page, and McCabe met at around the same time the FBI launched its counterintelligence investigation into possible Trump-Russia ties. Strzok, since he's head of the counterintelligence unit, is reported to have signed the affidavit based on the false dossier for the FISA warrant on Trump and his associates. Now, this crime family shows its motive and clear intent in August of 2016 when Soldier Strzok says in a text, I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, an apparent reference to Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe, that, back to quotes, there's no way he gets elected, but I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before you're 40. Close quote. An insurance policy? The deputy director of the FBI, his deputy assistant director, and his girlfriend in the FBI legal department plotting a scheme in the unlikely event that Donald Trump gets elected? They're not willing to take the risk that will elect him, and so the conspiracy to interfere with the election of Donald Trump is hatched. And later, the deputy director and his gomad pay compliments to each other, saying they are both fortunate that they were meant to protect the country from that menace. Bruce Orr, Associate Attorney General, and his wife, their own little crime family. You'll recall Fusion GPS is the company that hired Christopher Steele with Hillary's money to create a false dossier on Donald Trump. The Associate Attorney General's wife actually works for Fusion GPS. And Orr arranges a meeting after the election. Now think about it. After the election with Fusion GPS, which could be for the purpose of covering his own tracks or to get their stories straight in case someone talks. There you have it, folks. The abbreviated version of a criminal cabal, like a crime family in the movies, except this time the FBI is the crime family. As with all crime families, the head needs to be someone who seems holier than thou. The FBI director under whom it all happened called behind his back Cardinal Jim Comey. His consigliere, Andrew McCabe, the lawyer making sure that his wife got Clinton cash to run for office and violating any statute that got in his way. And his button man, Peter Strzok, who, along with his gomad Lisa Page, another FBI lawyer, are getting off in their fight to save the country from Donald Trump. Sounds far-fetched, doesn't it? It's not. There's a core group of arrogant, corrupt, and lawless individuals that felt that they, and not we, should decide a presidential election. And when they failed, they conspired to create the false narrative to not just muddy our choice for president, but to bring down his presidency and his family as well. The evidence is there, the motive disclosed. Still not sure? I ask you to look back on a prediction made by a powerful Trump-hating Democrat in January 2017, talking about Donald Trump.
Prison guards outraged over Colin Kaepernick's visit to inmates at Rikers Island. The former 49-year-old 49ers quarterbacker, known for kneeling during the national anthem, speaking about police brutality and social justice at the detention center in New York.
That's right. And we're going to pick it over here because the president of the Corrections Officers Union is slamming the visit, saying it will incite violence and put officers' lives actually in danger. Elias Hussamadeen is the president of the Correction Officers Benevolent Association. He joins us now. It seems like Colin Kaepernick, he just keeps digging a deeper hole.
Well, either he's digging a deeper hole or the mayor's digging a deeper hole, because basically correction officers are the police of the jail, and the mayor seems to think that inviting Kaepernick, Carmelo Anthony, rappers and things to come to Rikers Island to talk to inmates is going to change their behavior.
But Kaepernick specifically is a flashpoint. This is the guy that wore socks depicting the police as pigs, making them look like the bad guys. So when you bring in someone to your prison that says the police or the corrections officers are the bad guys, how does that improve relationships?
It doesn't. It does nothing to improve relationships. It's just, look, like I said before, we have a mayor that's out of touch. And his answer to the violence that's going on Rikers Island and the city jails is to bring in celebrities. And he does that just basically to keep the attention off of the fact that he has been a failure. in the last 4 years when it comes to violence inside the New York City jail. So, I mean, I expect more from him, but obviously, maybe I shouldn't.
I understand you're upset with the mayor, and so you've got your differences.
That's that's
Sure.
basically where
and fair enough,
this is
and it's
coming
free to
from.
believe that way. But what I want to press is and find is when you say the visit would actually be dangerous to the officers. How can you back that up?
Well, basically, look at the people that he's inviting. These people are people that these inmates are watching and entertaining themselves with before they come to jail. I mean, to his credit, he didn't say anything wrong. Actually, he said good things about correction officers. But at the end of the day, again, I don't want to let the mayor off the hook. I'm not going to let the mayor off the hook.
You think bringing Kaepernick in will sort of incite some of these prisoners against the officers, or is that too far?
I think that's too far, but I also think that the mayor does nothing. You have 2,000 correction officers who've been assaulted. Guys, broken jaw, 26 stitches across their face. What in the hell is bringing Kaepernick to Rikers Island going to do to help us to reduce that? If anything, it's going to do what you're saying. It has the potential to make it even worse.
Let me ask you, what should they be doing and who should they be bringing in instead?
Maybe they should bring in the attorney. Maybe they should bring Jeff Sessions. Maybe they should bring in somebody to investigate whether or not the increase in the violence against correction officers have something to do with the mayor's elimination of punitive segregation. That's something that correction officers have been able to use over the years to keep the violence down inside the jails. Bringing Kaepernick, bringing Carmelo Anthony, who didn't have anything good to say about correction officers, is not going to do anything to reduce the violence against New York City correction officers. We're the police of the jails. We're responsible for maintaining law and order, and we have a mayor who want to jet set around the country and bring these people in to maybe, to portray himself as somebody who's doing something great.
On the flip side of this, the president of the United States was talking to some young, rising law enforcement officers and said, "I've got your back." That kind of message, does that resonate with your folks?
That's the message. That's the only message that a mayor of New York City should give. I mean, that's the only message that there is. We're looking for a mayor to stand up and say, "I have your back." Maybe we should see if we can get the president of the United States to give him a call and give him some pointers.
That'd be fantastic. Why is there still this ingrained underappreciation of what the men and women in uniform do?
I think it has a lot to do with being out of sight and out of mind. I mean, you can't ignore police officers wherever you are in this country. They're very visible. You can't ignore firefighters. You see them every day. Usually the only time you see or hear anything about a New York City correction officer or correction officer, period, is when something goes wrong or something goes afoul inside a New York City jail. But I mean, I just need the message to get out there. We need these consent decrees that the mayor have instituted.